In the majestic and solemn courthouse, a young boy laughed out in contempt. He committed a crime that shocked the entire country. He lured a boy he didn't know into his home. He brutally killed him and dumped his body on the roof of a building. And not only did he not admit he was wrong, he even asked the judge. He shocked the judge with these words: according to the Korean juvenile law, it's true that he doesn't need to go to jail, but the female judge, who hates juvenile delinquency, wasn't going to let him off the hook. Soon the second trial began. The teenager confessed to all his crimes. He showed his motive for the crime: a medical certificate for a neurological disorder called psychedelia. He wanted to be convicted for this disease. He didn't expect the female judge to grin. She had done her homework. She pointed out that people with these disorders can't concentrate for long periods of time. Even if they kill someone, they can't clean up the scene. But the teenagers not only cleaned up the crime scene, he even premeditated the abduction, dismemberment and disposal of the body. The female judge was right. The teenager was so excited that he moved the chair next to him. His reaction said it all. A male colleague saw him looking away from the police station. When he turned himself in, there's a girl standing in the distance. She could be the third person. After visiting and investigating, the girl was quickly found. The girl didn't go back with the woman. The girl ran away desperately. The judge kept chasing after her. Even if accidentally knocked down by a car, she quickly got up and continued to chase. But the girl disappeared. The woman turned on the flashlight to look for her. The woman endured the pain and followed her. The girl ran into a dead end. The woman followed her. Elementary school student brutally murdered by a teenager, who lured him to his home. After dumping his body on the rooftop, he turned himself in with the murder weapon. The female judge found out that the murderer was someone else during the trial. She suspected that the murderer was the girl in front of her. The girl said she didn't know him, so she took out dozens of phone records between her and the teenager. The lawyer reminded the girl to keep quiet. Then she took out the elevator security camera. It took a picture of the girl's face. All these evidence can show that the girl is the third party. Soon the girl was taken away by the police. The girl's lawyer was not happy about it. The next day, the heroine was maliciously smeared. Even if we think about it, we know it's the work of the girl's lawyer. Soon it was time for the two to go to court, since the teenager had already confessed to the crime. So they both admitted to the murder, but they didn't admit that it was a premeditated crime. They said it was just a random accident, but the judge showed them evidence that slapped them in the face. From the elevator surveillance and the two men's chat records, we learned two things. First, it was the girl who abducted the victim and brought him to the crime scene. Second, the two men's chat logs proved that they had obviously planned the crime, but the girl's doctor testified that the girl had persecution paranoia and couldn't control her anger because she was once beaten up by a girl who touched her lightly. The girl's lawyer was obviously well prepared. They were going to try to make it look episodic, but the heroine got them to say what they did to each other with a little trickery. The elementary school student was actually strangled to death by the girl, so that no one would have to go to jail. The under 14-year-old turned himself in. The girl was the one who dismembered the body, but he said it was the teenager who did it. He was so angry, he wanted to hit her. Luckily, he was stopped by the police. He yelled at her and said she was a pervert. She even cleaned up the scene with her hands. The victim's mother rushed out of the front door, holding back her grief. She cried in the stairwell as if her liver had been cut off. The first trial resulted in a maximum sentence of 20 years for the girl. The juvenile's sentence was deferred. The grieving mother said her last request. But the juvenile's crimes didn't stop. The hobbling girl tapped on the courtroom glass. She seems to be looking for help. The girl was seriously injured and fainted in the courtroom. After being admitted to the hospital, it was found that the girl had several broken ribs. She also had contusions on her wrists. It should be due to long-term violence. But when she woke up, she said she was fine. She insisted on leaving the hospital. The heroine understood. The girl who was physically sick but said she was fine must be hiding something. She left the girl her contact information. She paid all the hospital fees and let the girl get well first. Then she went to the girl's workplace to investigate. The boss said the girl was a problem. She made mistakes all the time and often misses work without any reason. After investigating the situation, the heroine walked out of the salon. An employee chased after her and said she saw a strange man coming to see the girl. She was absent from work for no reason because of this man. but every time the girl came back with a bruise on her face, the co-workers thought she was working as a prostitute. After learning the situation, the heroine went back to the hospital to inquire, but the girl insisted that she was just injured from a fall, she wasn't beaten by anyone. Before the heroine could ask any further questions, the girl's grandmother appeared. She said that the girl's injuries were caused by a fall. The heroine sensed that they were trying to hide a secret. At the same time, Korea's future congressman wants to invite the Minister of Justice to join the National Assembly to change the law on juveniles. The heroine found the girl's grandfather. She also learned from the caregiver. The girl curses at her grandmother every day. She thinks the girl has no education, but she didn't think so, because an uneducated child can't come to the nursing home every day, and she wouldn't cut her grandfather's hair. So the heroine thinks the girl must be arguing with her grandmother for some reason, until the caregiver told her that the girl's father had a hot temper. The girl's father was a hot-tempered idler. That's why the family had no money, often robbed the government to subsidize her grandfather's medical expenses. The girl hated her with a passion. The heroine suddenly realized that strange man was the girl's father, but the girl disappeared from the hospital. At that moment, the girl went to her boyfriend's house, but she was surrounded by a group of people. The girl was robbed of her belongings by her boyfriend and his accomplice. She sat on a bench and cried. She told the judge what happened to her. Her idle father always asked her for money. If the girl didn't give him money, she was beaten up. The grandmother, although she loved the girl very much, but she told her to put up with her father. In order to prevent the girl from stealing when she ran out of money, she called the police to take her away, to wait for the court summons. The girl sat on the ground and said she didn't commit any crime. Kim's behavior angered her colleague, Cha, because he had experienced the girl's helplessness when he was young. He thought she had no sympathy at all. She was always picking on juvenile delinquents, but she asked him why he was always thinking of the children. He explains that violence can cause indelible damage to a child. He even told her why he became a judge. Miss Kim was deep in thought when Cha said that, in court, the man justified himself by saying he was just disciplining his daughter, but Miss Kim showed the girl's scars. Is this what the man called discipline? According to the grandmother's statement, in fact, the man was also beaten up as a child, so he carried the violence to the next generation. The grandmother gave the police the girl's recording of the man's violence. In the face of overwhelming evidence, the man ran to his mother who betrayed him. The man grabbed her by the neck. Luckily, other people pulled him away. The man got a trial. The man will have to attend 200 hours of classes. He'll pay for it himself. The trial is over. Kim found the girl. She told her to smile and face life. She gently touched the girl's head. Kim was taking a shower, but she got a text message on her cell phone.